And welcome back to another episode of Inspiring Identities, where we come to inspire through faith, love, life, theology, culture, and many, many more. I'm your host, Jabo. Let's get into this topic. So, today's topic is something I think is very important to society, especially to men. I want to encourage men. Don't be down all because he wasn't in your life. Who is he? Your father. In America, not just in the black community, but even in high culture, even in Caucasian communities, even in Hispanic communities, there is a high number of fathers who no longer wanted or want to be in their kids' life. It may be because they feel as though they're not ready. It may be because they just didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Whatever it is, men, do not allow, because of the fact that he wasn't there, to stop you from being greater than what he was. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, don't give him no excuse. But think about it. It's not an excuse, it's the truth. A man who abandons his father is a man who just doesn't know what he got himself into. He was a coward who decided to run away. Or he was just a man who lacked the proper intelligence to understand what he was doing. Now think about it. A lot of us do a lot of things in our lives that we think at the moment is all giggles and fun. Like we do a lot of things in our life that we think that, oh my God, this is cool, this is so awesome. But when we get older in life, we realize that, oh my God, I really should have done that. Understand that your father was that kind of person. He was that kind of person. He didn't understand what he was getting himself into. He didn't realize what it was that he was doing. He didn't realize the blessing of you because of the fact that he was too immature. Ladies, realize this. All because your dad wasn't in your life doesn't mean that there wasn't a father figure there. All because your dad wasn't in your life doesn't mean that you should be jumping from man to man looking for that dad, I guess, love. And it's not found between his legs. Ladies and gentlemen, all because our parents were not in our lives shouldn't stop us from being great. All because our parents were not in our lives, or they want the parents that we want them to be, doesn't mean that we cannot be better parents. Doesn't mean that we can't be better people. Doesn't mean that when we have our kids, that we won't be greater than them. Don't think that because you didn't have parents in your life that the same thing is going to happen to your kids. No. The only way that that will happen to your kids is if you let it. The only way that can happen to your kids is if you walk away. Don't be afraid to have kids because you think that you're just like your mom. You think that you're just like your dad. No, you are your own person. That is proven. How? God. Scientifically, every single person in this world has a different thumbprint. Our fingerprints are nowhere near identical, as far as my knowledge. Maybe things have changed, but this is just from my knowledge. No two people have the exact same fingerprints. Identical twins do not have the exact same fingerprints. Fraternal twins, they can have every other feature just the same, but their fingerprints are completely different. Which means what? God made you unique. God didn't make you to be like your father. God didn't make you to be like your mother. God didn't make you to be them. God made them to be them. Now, their choice was to leave you. Their choice was to not be in your life. But that does not mean that that same life is meant for you. That doesn't mean that your kids will inherit that same trait. That does not mean that. No, that means that because they left, you have a life to live. You have a choice to make. To be like them or to be yourself. Yes, people will tell you in your life, oh my God, you look like your mom. You look like your dad. Or you do this like them. Or you do that like them. The reason they say that is because you have traits that are similar to them, but you are not them. A person who imitates Michael Jackson doesn't mean that he's Michael Jackson. He can moonwalk like Michael Jackson. He can sound like Michael Jackson. He can dance like Michael Jackson. But at the end of the day, he will not be Michael Jackson. Ball players They can imitate Kevin Durant. They can imitate Stephen Curry. They can imitate LeBron James. But that's all it is an imitation. They are not them. They are themselves. They may mold or shape the way that they play basketball around them, but that does not mean that they are them. You are your own person. Understand that. God made you unique. God made you your own person. You have a choice to be like your mother and father or to be yourself, like God created you. Let's stop using the fact that we didn't have a mother or father in our lives as an excuse to do the wrongings that we do, to say that, oh, this is why I'm like this. No, because at the end of the day, I strongly believe, maybe it's not for everybody, but when your mom or your dad walked out, your grandma, your grandpa stepped in, your auntie, your uncle stepped in. Somebody came into your life to be that figure, that mother or that father. But we're just so down in the dumps because, oh, my father wasn't there. Oh, my mom wasn't there. Now, this is not to say that they don't play a key figure. They do. But if they choose to not be in your life, then let it be their choice. Don't let it be yours. You're greater than them. You're better than them. You can be, and you will be. Because God made you unique. You are not your mother. You are not your father. You are you. If you don't believe me, see if you can find your mother and your father's fingerprints and compare them to yours and see that they are completely different. You can think better than them. You can think differently than them. You can become stronger than them. Don't let them hold you back anymore. Live your life. Be great as God intended you to be. Because God, the Bible tells us that they came to Jesus and they said that Jesus, your mother and your brother, they're outside. And Jesus told them, basically, my family is those who do the work of God. To signify that all because you're blood related doesn't mean that you need to be bound to that. Your family can be outside of blood. Your mom could be that family friend who decided to take you in when your mother and father decided to walk away or when they passed. Not all parents just walk out. Some just didn't make it. Make them proud if they didn't. Make it so that if they were alive, they would cry tears of joy. You can do it. No longer be held back. It's your boy J-Bo with another episode of Inspiring Identities, where we come to inspire through faith, love, life, theology, culture, and many more. Be blessed, be humble, be a native. Let God use y'all.